What's up, nerds? This video I'm going to be shooting kind of on the fly. I literally just finished shooting this one, but I've got a client he's opening a new restaurant, and he needs. He sent to me. I haven't added them up yet, but he needs this many signs. I do know there are 71 different design layups, which he sent to me all in one file. And that is after I organized it. So I took the job, I guess because it's cheaper than hiring a dom. And so I've got to figure out what techniques to use, what materials, some of which I have not used before. But I'm going to start with something I have done before. It's just been a while, so I'm going to run a test first. This is 1/8 inch brass plate, 360 brass for you metallurgy nerds, which is easy to machine because I'm engraving these. All this stuff is going in a Greek restaurant, and the client wants some of this to look old, like old plaques, worn and weathered. We'll get to the worn and weathered part. These are rather detailed with a lot of type in them, so I'm using some very small engraving bits. I will link to what I use down in the video description in case anybody out there wants to replicate any of this. This one is not going in the restaurant, by the way. This was just a test, but I might auction this off, actually. So I don't know, I'll put the details at the end. Now, I have a little bit of brass on hand already to do some of the smaller pieces, but I did not have enough to do everything. So I can get some locally, but sometimes it's just easier to have it show up in the mail. So I ordered some from McMaster Carr, including this gorgeous piece, and also this, although I did not expect it to show up so completely oxidized, but a bit of steel wool should help take care of this. Oh, nope, that's worse than I thought. All right, let's try a bit of vinegar and some 320 grit. There we go. I should have put on gloves. I'm going to smell like a pickle for the next 2 days. There we go. Right, now, that is usable. Oh, that is loud. There are multiples of some of these designs. There's 4 of these, and they take an hour a piece to carve. That's half my day. So I had the brilliant idea of breaking out the old X-Carve, which has just been serving as a storage unit. I actually don't think I have fired this thing up in a couple of years. I was just about to get rid of it. Oh, hey, that's where that went. This is the neon plot for the Welcome Home Maker sign. That's my mock-up for the torch I made. There's the other half. All right, let's see if this thing still works. Oh, wow, it's booting up. And of course it's updating. God damn it, Windows. Oh, we're in business. Of course, now I'm realizing this is probably a bad idea, going right into production with this thing. It's been so long, some of these belts are probably stretched a little loose. I don't know if the bearings are still good, but actually I have nothing to follow that up with. It's just a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And the old girl did not let me down. All right, so I've been running through some of these engraved signs on both machines at the same time. And choosing this as a subject for a video may have been a huge mistake. Usually when I'm shooting a project, I've got an idea where the project's gonna go, and I can work out a narrative for the video. And sometimes I'll even sit down and I like bullet point it. I can't even think of words. Outline. I can outline the video. Then I know where things are going. I can kind of tell a story. I know what I've got when I'm editing. But I'm not even through the first type of sign, and it already feels like complete chaos. However, I'm committed now, so stick with me. Let's see where this goes. Now I've done work for this client for years now, so I kind of know what to expect. Usually he's got a vision, a basic idea of how he wants something to look, but it's usually up to me to figure out the details. Like I said, this time he sent me everything in one file, different colors, different looks, and I've grouped things basically according to technique, and I do get some notes. Like these can be plastic or these can be plastic or metal. They can be lasered or painted. And then there's a lot of back and forth of, okay, are these supposed to be metallic? The metallic looking, do they have to be actual metal? Are they gonna be indoors, outdoors, which can affect what actual material I use? Or I may get something like this, and then in a separate email, he'll say this needs to be on a stand, something fancy. It's up to me to figure out what that is. For example, for the engraved signs, some are clearly brass, and then there are these gray ones, and it just says some type of metal to give this effect. And that's basically all I will get. Now, this being gray, and the fact that I need to be able to engrave these here in my shop, that basically means this has got to be aluminum. For these brass signs, to bring out the lettering, I can bring these out chemically. Or for these aluminum ones, which used to be blue, by the way, there is a way to chemically darken aluminum, but also some of this lettering is, well, it's still blue. And I have no instructions on what kind of finish the aluminum is going to have, but, well, this is what I'm gonna do. First, I'm gonna hit it with some 220 to get rid of most of the mill marks. Then take it over to the robot and engrave it as before. All right, I just had the dumbest of the dumbs. I double stacked my dumbs. I changed bits and forgot to reset my Z height, so it just dove straight into the material. The bit shattered dramatically and buried the shaft right in the aluminum. That is what I call an ostrich maneuver. But not only that, I forgot to hit record, so I didn't even get it on camera. Probably would have been the most interesting thing to happen in this whole video. Yeah, so that's what happens when you try to do too much at once. And it's a good thing that I bought extra bits ahead of time. All right, let's try that again. Oh my God. The other one lasted forever. This one lasted 3 minutes. All right, starting yet again. You're kidding. Good morning. So, long story short, I've been using a certain bit for years. That's the one I smashed because I was tired, but you can no longer buy it. It's not available anymore. So, I bought a different brand with exactly the same specs, and it just kept breaking. I even tried more conservative settings after I turned the camera off, and it still kept breaking. I went through a whole pack. So, I reset, I tried something else first thing this morning, and got it done. So we are finally back on track. Let's just hope the rest of this job doesn't go as badly. But stay tuned. So getting back on track, and I've already spent too much time on this as it is. The aluminum is softer than the brass, so I end up with some burrs here on top. So I just go back over it again with some 400 grit. And to get the colors that the client wants, I'm pretty sure I can just fill this in with paint. So, a coat of blue. And I'm just going to try wiping off the excess with some acetone. Oh, that actually leaves kind of an anodized effect. And then it's gone again. Cover this up with some tape. Then a coat of gray. And more acetone. And you know what? I am happy with this. I need to touch up this tiger a little bit, but I think this gets me to what the client was trying to depict in the graphic. All right, let's finish these up. Okay, I just got an email from the client, and he has requested that all of the aluminum plates, you know, that I've been working on, that now all of those should also be brass. I mean, you gotta laugh, cause what else are you gonna do? All right, you know what? Let's switch tack. Let's work on something completely different. So, all right, I've probably been making it sound like this client is absolutely terrible to work with, but I've been working with him for years. He's great. He always sends me great projects, many of which have appeared on this channel, and he always gives me a lot of leeway. Luckily, I've been able to be a little more selective about the jobs I take in recent years from all the inquiries I get. Still, I don't want all those requests getting lost among a bunch of spam email and texts. And one of the ways I've been able to keep that stuff at bay is with a service called Delete Me, who has been a sponsor of this channel for a while now. If you've ever wondered how the spammers and the scammers get your information, there's a whole host of companies called data brokers who mine your information, past addresses, contact information, court records, and they sell that data to anybody who wants it. And that leaves you open to phishing scams and identity theft. But when you sign up with Delete Me, they check hundreds of those services for your information and automatically submit the necessary opt-out requests for those companies to remove your data. And Delete Me continues to monitor for reoccurrences and send you updated reports of what they found. I believe the first report that I received was something like 10 pages full of data brokers who had my information. Help protect yourself against scams by going to joindeleteme.com/Wesley20 and get 20% off consumer plans with code Wesley20. That's joindeleteme.com/Wesley20 with code Wesley20. So now I would like to get through something that hopefully I can get through relatively quickly, and that's these multicolored signs. I believe these are all back of house signs, and the client specified these could be plastic, possibly painted, preferably engraved. So I did some research and I came up with this stuff. It's called Romark. You see it everywhere. Romark is actually a brand name. People use it generically. I don't know what the generic term for this stuff would actually be, but it is a plastic laminated with another plastic, 2 different colors. And you are supposed to be able to engrave this with either a CNC router or a laser, I hope. You remove one color, revealing the color below. Like I said, you see signs made with this stuff everywhere, usually industrial or informational, but I have never used this, so I am excited to potentially add a new material to my arsenal. I found some recommended settings from Romark for a laser of my size and instantly blew right through the material. So I just ran a series of tests of my own and found the right settings that work very well. The only problem is when you vaporize this top layer, it leaves this residue that doesn't come off, which just isn't acceptable. However, I found a tip in a sign maker's forum that says you can coat it in slightly watered down dish soap first, and that should take care of it. So let's give that a try. And I found that doing 2 passes takes care of any discoloration. And I should be able to just rinse it off. There, no residue. All right, montage. Didn't get very far in that montage before hitting another hurdle. Not a single part of this project is going to go smoothly. So the soap trick works great. No residue, it all rinses off. It's great, perfect, fine. However, leave the soap on a little too long and it affects the surface of the Romark. Makes it kind of splotchy, kind of cloudy. That was after having left it on some of my stock overnight, about 12 hours, but leave it on only about an hour and it still starts to affect it. Which, by the way, is about how long it takes me to do a whole sheet of signs. So I ran to the store, I got a couple more types of soap, I put them on some scrap, I let them dry, let them sit for about an hour, rinsed them off. Totally fine. Apparently, it's only Dawn that's the problem. Dawn, great for ducks, bad for Romark. So I'm gonna switch to this clear liquid hand soap and get back to where I left off. Of course, I've only tried the blue Romark so far. It could affect the other colors differently. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so with running the tests, doing the layups, the engraving, the cleaning, and a couple of mistakes, that took about a day and a half altogether. But that takes care of 63 of my signs, which completes sets 2, 3, 4, and 5. I am still running engraved brass plaques in the background, and there's a couple of miscellaneous signs that I'm waiting for feedback on, but those are basically more engraved brass, just with customized finishes and details. So that leaves sets 1 and 7, which are really variations on the same thing. The client had imagined these as being printed, but he wants the lettering to be a metallic gold. So the solution I came up with is a pre-finished sheet metal, which in this case is thin brass painted on one side. And I should be able to run these through the laser the same way I make my ray gun panels that I sell over on my website. The only problem is this is a lot thinner than what the client wants. So I've got to mount these to something, and I do not have time to go and buy anything, but I've got some 1/4-inch acrylic on hand. So, quick solution for these: use some spray adhesive to adhere the panels to the acrylic, cut them down on the table saw, paint the edges black, and laser them. All right, now I can let these run while I tackle set 7. Set 7 uses the same material, but they are tabletop displays, so I'm going to need to do a little woodworking. My final pieces have to be 2 inches tall, but I could only get 4/4 walnut. And this piece was already a little short of 4/4. So I've got to thicken it. In the meantime, I was able to get all of these done. And you know, glossy black, it's not really my style, at least not since the 90s, but these came out really nice. I'm so stupid. Triangles are 30 degrees, not a 45. Yeah, so I have lost all track of where I am in this video. I could have done any one of these items as a video, but no. I had to do the entire commission. The stuff I'm sticking these on with, by the way, it's a 3M product. It's 468 MP, very catchy name. It is perfect for stuff like this. I believe Chris Raley from Route 9 Signs turned me onto this stuff. I'll put all the information down in the video description. All right, and I think that is the last one of these. All right, so got all of these done. What's left? Oh, we still have to age those brass plaques. And the first thing I'm going to do is rough some of these up a little on the convolute wheel. scratch it up just a bit on the floor. Make it look nice and worn. I didn't go quite that far with this one, just kind of soften the edges up and left what scratches were there. I cleaned them both with alcohol. I soaked them in this brass aging solution I got off Amazon. And it does not take long at all to see a change. Use a brush to make sure it gets down into all of the engraving. It only takes a couple of minutes, and I take them outside to rinse them off, and then a quick pass with some quadruple zero steel wool. And same with this one. And again, I'm going to be auctioning this one off along with everything else. The details will be down in the video description. And finally, I'm using a different technique on some of these larger ones, including this largest one that the client asked me to engrave. I sprayed it with a blue patina solution and left it overnight. I'm just going to clean it off with some water first. And then I wet sand it with some 600 grit. Then after a quick rinse, a coat of clear enamel to bring out the contrast. Then we end up with this. By the way, if you enjoy weathering and aging techniques like this, I've got a whole video on that. You know where the link is. My target for getting all of this done was yesterday. I missed it. I believe most of what I have left to do are those aluminum signs that I now have to redo in brass. But of the 117 signs that were commissioned, 118 now, he added one. I completed 102. Not bad for one guy in a workshop and a couple of robots. Thanks again to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. To remove your data from the internet, follow the link down in the video description and get 20% off. Oh, and don't forget to check out that auction. Nerds.